Hello, this is Anthony with Lowercase Capital, and today I wanted to make a quick video just to talk about what we saw in the market this past week, and also to take a look at what we might be seeing for the week coming up. Just before we get into that, a quick disclaimer. This video is intended for informational and educational purposes only. This video is not investment advice. I don't know you and your financial situation, so I don't know what might be suitable or not suitable for you. Please do your own research before making any financial decisions, and of course, consult with a financial professional. So what did we see in the market last week? Overall, the S&P closed down about 1%, and it had a big pivot around Wednesday, and that move was tracked also by the VIX. We saw the VIX open the week at 31, and it closed up at 37, and so that definitely has my attention whenever I see a move in the VIX like that, and certainly we're maintaining an elevated level in the VIX anyway, so it's something I'm keeping in mind as I'm looking forward. In parallel with that, what was going on, there's companies starting to report their earnings. So this week we saw 750 companies, and the week before we had another 300. And so across those 1,000 companies, we can start to get a picture for what this earnings season is looking like. On the whole, companies are hitting or are just above their estimates. So this past week, companies on average reported 1 penny higher than their earnings estimate, whereas the week before, the average was down about 5 cents. So in terms of the statistics of it, I think it was about 50 to 55% that were beating their estimate and about 45% that were missing. So very kind of middle of the road performance for earnings, in my opinion. And in the week coming forward, what do we have? Another 1,400 companies that are due to report their earnings. And so the question is going to be, do they continue this kind of lackluster performance, or are there a few standouts that really move the market? We've already had a couple big companies report, and with some big deviations. On the upside, we had Microsoft for the fourth quarter in a row report an earnings win of greater than 10 cents versus their estimate. And the question for them is, with the coronavirus situation going on and all the damage that's being done to small businesses, are they going to start to see a hit to revenue and a hit to earnings based upon those small businesses suffering? The other company that maybe didn't perform as well was Amazon. They were down to earnings report of $5.01 versus what was expected around $6.28 per share. And so for them, maybe the story is that the situation with the coronavirus didn't give them as much of a boost as maybe people were expecting. But it's important there to keep in mind that really we didn't get into the real depths of this, call it a crisis, until maybe in April even. And so if you're looking for improved performance based upon that, you'll have to look to quarter two to see how they're doing. What else is going on in the market right now? Oil's definitely a big story. And we saw a huge swing in the oil price this past week, with prices down around $10 before finally closing the week up at $19.69. And of course, everyone's probably heard of the negative oil prices for the previous options expiration. And so the question in my mind is really more so focused around the storage situation, how that relates to options expiration prices, how that relates to maybe companies that can provide oil storage services. And so I personally am going to be doing a bit of looking around that space to see what opportunities might be there. Maybe everything's priced in. Maybe there's still a play to be made. We'll see. So what do we have to look forward to for the S&P this week? Well, Friday closed down about 100 points, and we've already had that happen 3 times previous to this. And in each previous case, the market turned around and showed strength as this bear market rally that many are calling it's continued. And so the big expectation for me is that if I'm to believe that this move is continuing, we should see a positive day on Monday. But if it's the case that we see maybe a weak market, or maybe a market that's not really going anywhere Monday and Tuesday, I would start to have the opinion that maybe the downside is what we should be looking at from here. That would agree with the technicals. People who follow the Fibonacci levels are well aware that last week we crossed the 61.8% level coming off of the low for the market. And so those people may already be expecting a downward move from here. If I had to take a position, it would probably be very close to neutral. I certainly wouldn't be going long at this point in time, just based upon the fact that the VIX is remaining elevated. And once again, on the technical side, we went above that Fibonacci level. So I would wait to see what happens first. And I realize some of you might not be familiar with what the VIX is, so just let me touch on that real quickly. The VIX, or volatility index, is the number that's designed to express the expected volatility of the S&P over the upcoming month. And so the key there is expected. It doesn't necessarily mean that volatility is going to occur, but it's just based upon the numbers, it's what's expected. And so for me, when I see a number for the VIX that's elevated, remaining elevated, or big moves to the upside, it makes me question whether or not I need to reduce the net exposure, the net long exposure in my portfolio in order to maintain the same level of positioning that I'm looking to achieve with my strategy. And for me, that would apply if I'm operating a portfolio of trades, portfolio of long positions. I would really look to reduce that net exposure in those situations. That's really all I had for today. Please let me know in the comments if you thought this video was helpful, or if there's maybe some type of information that you'd like to see discussed in a video like this, or also just let me know if you thought it was terrible. I'm looking at maybe doing this every week or every other week, just as a quick way to get some information out, interact with everybody. So let me know what you think. Thank you.